Hello, my name is Beck and welcome to the New Year's book tag. I'll link all the questions and everything down below, but the first question on this tag is, how many books do you want to read in 2022? I did say this in my reading goals video, but I'm aiming for 50. I got to 47 last year, and then before that I got to about 90, and then in previous years I've gotten to either 100 or 120 or 130. So with full-time work, it's really meant that I've had to reduce a lot of my reading, but that's okay. As long as I am reading and I'm trying to read every day, I'm happy with that. Question number 2 is, name 5 books that you want to make a priority this year that you didn't get to last year. One of mine would definitely be Cytonic by Brandon Sanderson. This came out in November. It's the continuation of his Skyward and his Starsight series. I think it's called Skyward Flight. This is book 3 anyhow, and I'd like to get to it ideally in January, but we'll see. It wasn't on my actual TBR video, but it is in the back of my mind because I want to catch up on this series. Additionally, I've also got Daughter of the Deep by Rick Riordan and also Furies of Calderon by Jim Butcher. So this guy wrote the Percy Jackson series and this guy wrote the Dresden Files. Both of them are authors that I've read from before and really and thoroughly enjoyed. So I'm looking forward to, I think this is a standalone, but starting a new series by a favourite and then starting another book by a favourite as well. And then speaking of favourites, I'd love to continue Robin Hobb. So this is the second book in the Farseer trilogy, and I have read all of her work before. This is a reread for me, but ideally I will get back onto rereading and rediscovering my love for this high fantasy series. It does have very descriptive and atmospheric writing, so I need to make sure I'm not trying to rush and be productive and get pages read, because I want to take my time and really enjoy this one. And then the last one is The Expanse. I'd like to read the next book in this series, and I'd probably read it the right side up. That would be nice, but this is the third book and I read the second book at the end of last year, so I'd like to upkeep my series reading and just stay on the ball, so we'll see how I go. Question number 3 is, what genre do you want to read more of? And obviously sci-fi I'd like to read more of, because mostly I read fantasy, and so I'd like to integrate more sci-fi into my reading in general, but at the same time I'd also like to read contemporary, because I don't reach for contemporary very often, and I've discovered that it is one of my favourite genres if I choose very well within it. So that's kind of like fantasy. I know what I want because I know the genre so well, so with contemporary I want the same thing. I want to find more favourites and more things that are easy to absorb. It's really good to read a contemporary in between like a science fiction and a fantasy. It gives my brain time to decompress the whole making up an entire world in your head and actually reading something that is set in our world. It's just a little bit easier on the brain and the imagination. So contemporaries is one that I would like to pursue. I also would love to read more dystopian zombie stuff, but it's really hard to find new stuff that is really good. So if you have any recommendations, let me know, but I'm really picky, so we'll see with that one. I hope I find some new ones. I will do some digging. Question number 4 is, name 3 non-book related goals for 2022. And I'm not really sure if I have them as like hard and fast goals, but in a general capacity, I'd like to get my fitness up. I'd like to be healthy again because I had a surgery on my jaw and now I'm recovering, but in between that, we've also had the pandemic, so I haven't been exercising as much as I want, and that's really no fault of mine. It's really just what we could do within such a confined space. So I would like to get back into fitness. I would like to hold myself accountable for that. I'm not wearing it now, but I did get a watch, an Apple Watch, that will track all my progress and how many steps I'm doing and distance and all that kind of stuff. So that's really my first step towards fitness. Other than that, maybe writing. I'd like to do a bit of writing this year because I said that last year and then I didn't get to it. So potentially writing, but I don't want to again hold myself to that. And the last one really has to be reading related because I can't think of anything else. And that is read a little bit every day, whether that's 1 or 2 pages or whether it's 50 to 100 pages, doesn't matter. Whether it's like 5 minutes of an audiobook or an hour, also doesn't matter. I want to read every day, and I've got a weekly tracker to do that. So I am setting myself up with massive expectations, and it is only the start of the year. It's only January. I don't know what this year is going to look like. It already doesn't look like very much fun with the whole Omicron variant. So honestly, it's anybody's guess how this year is going to go. Question number 5 is, what is a book that you've had forever that you just have not read yet? I've been pretty good at getting my to be read pile pretty far down. I'm on about 23 books right now, and that is after I've done my book haul for Christmas in January, so I'm doing pretty well. Something that has been on my reading pile for a while though is The Vor, and it's an atmospheric fantasy. I think it's set in a rainforest, and I don't know anything beyond that, and it's really been sitting there for a long time, so I really need to get on board with reading that and then continuing the trilogy if I really like it. I think that's the only one that I can think of. The others I've really had in the last like year and a half or even less, so I think I'm doing pretty well on reading older stuff on my reading pile. And then before the last question, which is basically like tag friends, last question on here that is a legitimate question is, what is one word that you want 2022 to be? And for me, I just want it to be fun. 2021 was really rough, and I imagine it was rough for a lot of people, and I don't want to go through that again. I want to be much happier. I actually got a comment on one of my older videos from earlier this year, and they were like, you seem a lot happier in this video, and I do feel a lot happier. I feel like we've gone through a really rough patch, and so now I just am out the other side, and I'm trying to set up better habits for myself, and so hopefully that can be pushed forward into months other than January, because it's really hard to maintain something like that rather than just set it up and have good ideas at the beginning. I want to try and make it so that I carry as much through for the entire year, like with my fitness and with reading every day, maybe doing a bit of writing. I want to try and push myself, but also realize that I can burn out, and to try and balance that too, because I just pushed last year. I didn't realize that I was burned out so far until I had my month off to recover from surgery, and then I was like, oh, I feel like a human being again. So I don't want to get to that point again. So that is really it for this book tag. Let me know down below if you are currently reading anything, if you've got any goals for this year. I would really like to know. But again, thank you so much for watching this video. I'll come chat to you down below, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.